Hey everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Urban Exploring. And today we are out on the Ramapo Mountain in northern New Jersey. And this area has a lot of cool things to see. For starters, and the main attraction would be the abandoned Slyke Castle, which sits in ruins and is a very large abandoned structure to explore. So we will be going out to find that. But aside from that, there's water towers, there's a second castle-like structure out here that I have never found before. I'll try to find today, as well as a very nice lake at the bottom of the mountain. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Alright. On the first leg of the walk, I believe we found the first tower. And I may have misspoke when I had said water tower. I don't believe this is a water tower. In fact, it looks more like a radio tower. It's still a pretty neat structure. It looks as though people actually work inside there. Go figure. Very cool. Well, we'll keep this one brief, but moving on to the next spot. Alright, we've now reached the next point of interest, which would be Lake Ramapo, which we had to make quite a climb to get down here. This whole area is very up and down, up and down. I mean, I started out way up on the hill in the parking lot. We climbed down quite a bit, went up another one, and now we've climbed to what's pretty much the bottom, which leads you to this very nice lake here. So we'll get around the corner here, check this out. I find this bridge pretty neat. There's this driving trail that looks like it's open every now and then with a gate open on the other side, but what I really want to look at here and show you guys is how nice this lake is. I mean, check this out. The water is so clear, reflective. You have that nice sky reflecting down on it. We'll continue up here, see what we got. Checking out down the side here at the bottom of this dam. This actually looks like a pretty nice herping spot. I might have to revisit this in the warmer months and see if we can't catch some water snakes down there or something. But yeah, here's the lake again. Checking out the aquatic life down there. See some fish going by. Nice. Now alongside the lake we found this waterfall. And from doing this journey previously, I remember this would mean that we are getting close to the castle trail. So, with that in mind, let's carry on. And I remembered right. The castle is indeed that way. But before I head up there, just around the corner here, I see some sort of small abandoned structure. And that is way too tempting for me to pass up. So let's check that out. And there we are. Not sure entirely what this is, but we're going to find out. Sort of stone hut or something. And it is is just completely full of wood. Interesting. Wonder what this was for. No matter. It's cool nonetheless. Also, just look at that view of Lake Ramapo behind there. This place is really beautiful. Anyway, back to the castle. Alright, I'm now at the base of the hill leading to the castle. Wish me luck, because this is the most difficult leg of the journey. As you can see, that is all straight up. Not the most friendly environment for a big guy like myself, but we'll move on. So we're almost there. I've taken the liberty to save you all from most of the absurd heavy breathing going on from climbing this mountain. It's quite the challenge, but quite worth it. Because right over that staircase will take us up into the castle ruins. But a funny thing I wanted to point out, just to illustrate how far this has gone. That little dot right there. Yeah. It's hard to focus on it, but that is the water tower that we passed by at the very beginning of this. Yeah. But also, there's the wonderful view of the whole lake that you get from up here, as well as all of the surrounding mountains. But I digress. Let's get up those stairs and into the castle.
The history of Slyke Castle is one filled with sadness and loss. It is the story of a woman named Ruth Coles. Ruth was a nurse in the Wanacue area, and she had grown up middle class her whole life. Her life and fortunes would both drastically change when in 1906 she would marry her boss and first husband, Charles Hallowell, who was a very successful industrialist. Life was great, and Ruth was finding levels of happiness in life she had never known thanks to the newfound romance and wealth she had with Charles. Unfortunately, this was to be short-lived. In 1907, Mr. Hallowell would pass away. While the loss was emotionally devastating for Ruth, the inheritance he left behind would keep her in great wealth for the rest of her life. Charles would leave behind $1.5 million, an amount in today's money that is the equivalent of $34 million. Now rich beyond her wildest dreams, yet still lonely due to the loss of her late husband, she would form a close relationship and eventually marry a former friend of her late husband, William Porter. William was already a fairly wealthy man in his own right. At the time of their wedding, he was already hard at work building his dream manor high atop Fox Mountain. The lavish estate would be known as Foxcroft, and it would include a swimming pool, a water tower, and a massive castle overlooking Lake Ramapo. The manor would be completed, and the couple would get to enjoy their dream home, briefly. Only a few years after their marriage, William would also unfortunately meet his demise in a tragic car accident. It would only be another year before Ruth would meet and marry her third husband, Warren C. Van Slyke, in 1913. Van Slyke, after the marriage, would change the name of Foxcroft Manor to Slyke Castle, and it seemed as though things would finally be normal for poor Ruth. Sadly, it would seem Ruth could not escape this death curse which had followed her most of her life. While Warren would survive the longest of all of her spouses, he too would ultimately pass away in 1925. Unable to cope with the loss of another lover, Ruth resolved to not remarry. She would spend the rest of her life alone up on the mountain in Slyke Castle until her own passing in 1940. The castle would be the center of controversy for a while after Ruth was gone. It was inherited by her closest relatives, who quickly sold it, seeing the massive opportunity to profit from the lavish home. Shortly after, however, the castle would be caught in the middle of a battle for possession between the new owners, who would go through a nasty divorce after obtaining it. Ultimately, it would sit vacant until 1959. This would be when it would go from a palace of grandeur to ruins. Vandals would find their way to the empty castle and set fire to it, leaving nothing left of it but the stone walls that still stand to this day.
Well, now that we've explored that, I think it's time I find the other half of this castle that I've never found before. I know that there is supposed to be another castle-like structure, another tower up here on top of this mountain, and I think it's somewhere over in that direction. So let's go see if we can find it. Let's see. Castle's still kind of in view there, but already up this side trail I found something I never knew was here. And it would be this cellar hole to another structure I didn't even know about. This isn't even the other castle tower, I don't think. At least I hope not. Hope this isn't all that's left of it. But I'd say this is promising. But the trail continues on. So hopefully there's more out there. Kinda wish I would have took this side trail earlier. So here we have yet another vista and another great lookout onto another lake. Not entirely sure what that body of water is, but that is nice. Oh, and if I'm not mistaken, I think through the trees there I see what I am looking for. And there she is, way up high on the mountain, even higher than Slyke Castle itself, which I didn't know was possible to do here, but it is. Now the next question, can we get inside? Let's find out. Alright. It's cool. It's a much smaller structure than that last one. I don't know what this is for. Actually, no, I take that back. In map scouting the area, Google Maps calls this the ruins of the Ramapo water tower. So I suppose this is the water tower. Not very much to see here, but it's really neat nonetheless. Oddly enough, there's somebody else here? Huh. Went around all four sides of this tower. I'm sure I'm alone, but it smells really strong, like cigar smoke. Weird. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed this. I am beat, and I now have to climb my way all the way back down to the bottom of this mountain. So, while I do that, I thank you for watching.